Hey guys, so I'm gonna have to speak to Clifford Harris TI. I'm actually Jesus Christ. I am God, young man. I had you covered for me because I stayed in I lived in Atlanta when I was Du Bois for a few years. I went to Morehouse. I did a semester or two in Morehouse. I did go to Howard University. I graduated from Howard University. I did audit all of the HBCUs and I accredited them as regionally accredited university and federally backed. I did a lot of work in Atlanta, okay, as Du Bois, and you covered it for me. I'm back. I'm back, okay? Big things popping. The Union of the Americas and the world government. I am God, young man. I don't have time for silly games, okay? So don't ask me to stay in poverty. I have $10 million in my bank account, trust fund, and estate accounts is going to be consolidated very soon. Not debt, not debt. And stop saying that I don't know the difference between debt and credit or actual money, all right? Or cash. Do not say that ever again, young man. I've been very nice to you. I allowed you to cover for me, and I punished you reasonably in making the mistakes that you made. I've been very good to you, young man. TI, TIP, whatever you're going to call yourself moving forward. Okay? So, yes, I am the biggest individual in the universe. I'm actually 15 feet tall in the blue realm, and I'm macroscopic, meaning bigger than the universe when I'm in Nirvana. The universe is literally in my hand, the lower three dimensions. But the core of the universe itself, the two lower dimensions and the bottom dimension of Earth and outer space. All right. I had to make sure that no one believes that I'm God because I'm big, or believes that I'm God because I'm the only being worshipped all over the universe, or because of what you guys perceive as fame. Okay, I just wanted you guys to know that. So I'm knocking Goliath out again. Yes, I was King David and I was Achilles. Achilles. I am knocking out Goliath. I'm knocking out the big bad bully. And some say, well, is it the United States, the country that Shawn Dexter John created himself as Thomas Jefferson when he knocked out the British? Or is it white supremacy, the arrogant rulers of the earth in defiance of logic, as perceived by some? We don't know yet. But we know that we are going to enter into a next paradigm thanks to Shawn Dexter John, Jesus Christ. Not and Jesus Christ, Shawn Dexter John, meaning Jesus Christ in this current incarnation, speaking of myself. Okay? I'm an arrogant person when I engage, when I address or respond to egregious egos, consistently egregious egos, pathologically egregious egos. Okay? All right. So I'm going to show that I'm currently at the store. I used to audit this particular neighborhood. I'm working in my work paper and my work reports for the most part, making sure that everything is published online and stored all over the country and elsewhere throughout the world, undisclosed location, government locations, United Nations, INTERPOL, CIA, and so forth. And the federal government itself. We do have a lot of allies in the federal government outside of the Central Intelligence Agency. And yes, the Central Intelligence Agency is still American, but it's a unique and a secret partnership with the United Nations. That's why I created both as Du Bois. I remember doing so. I want you guys to accept that, all right? I was very humble in not acknowledging that I created these things in the history books. And that's going to change eventually over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. They're going to acknowledge that I created the Central Intelligence Agency and the United Nations because they tried discrediting that I created the NAACP. They kept saying that a white woman actually created it or some white agents, and I just helped around. I actually created it myself, as I did with RC International, Research Policy Institute, and then it actually became official. Actually, it was a bit more official. I had my own office and everything. From the get-go, while at college, I created it, but it became a real bona fide uh, uh, civil society organization or firm or agency, whatever you guys want to consider it, in secret. Okay, so I created all of that, and I was humble and said, okay, you guys can say that I created it alongside a feminist white woman. That's not a problem. I'm okay with that. I'll be world president in as Shawn Dexter John, aka Khaled Sundiata Hassan, and so forth. All right, so I was very humble. They said, "Well, you God, you don't have to be humble because you have everything in the world." But I've been through the most pain, and I have everything to fight for. I'll see in humanity perfect forever, so I can be perfect and perfectly happy forever with my wife and a co-wives for the rest of eternity. My daughters, they're really my daughters, and I promise you guys, they love me so much in heaven that it's unfair, uh, uh, to others, in the third dimensions when they do notice it, they perceive it as unfair. So at times I've had to endure the pain of having to get them into my procreation programs to be able to deliver our 10,000 children from the city of God and angels in the second dimension. That's not a retarded logic. That's reality. This is reality. This is top secret, known to Masonry and the federal government, specifically the CIA. This is not some sort of theory, a supposition, or this is not some sort of speculation whatsoever. All right. So all of the psychologists, actually, there were only about 2, 3 psychologists or psychiatrists, not really trained, but purported psychiatrists who are going to lose their husbands and end up being in my procreation program to protect their lives from federal agents who were shocked that they actually perceived that their instructions were lawful. They keep saying that they thought they were joking around with these women. They're in a lot of trouble, and they finding out that I designated them to rescue them from a particular situation. Their husbands are pedophiles, have been having sex with underage females at high schools, claiming to be alphas and Qs and this, and claiming to keep beautiful females away from immigrants, handsome immigrants, and to get in the way of the prophecy of the multiculturalization, the multiracialism, and the multinationalism of the United States of America. They actually bought that, and we audited these men over the past 15 years or so, even before that. So this is not illusory, and this is not something that I made up. They are quite remedial. These men, in their dissent and their argument to why they actually got to the point of additionally selling drugs and saying yes to murdering. Get your grocery out of my basket. We need the basket. Oh, you need the basket. Yes, what basket? No. My groceries are not in the basket at all. No, that's someone else. So they said yes to murdering all of the migrants in New York City. They said yes to murdering all of the migrants in New Orleans. They said yes to murdering all of the migrants in San Diego and this and that, dumping them in the river, Rio Grande, the river Hudson, and the Mississippi River. We audited all over the country and so forth. African Americans are going to be re-educated into becoming the most affluent group on the planet. They deserve it based on the history and the narrative and the pains our ancestors went through. All right, but at the same time, we're going to have to be fair in having to perfect them into being perfected globalists, humanitarians, humanists. Humanists. I want you guys to be able to say this consistently. That's going to be a catchy and popular term moving forward. Humanists, interfaith secularists, human developers, and so forth, without inserting any sort of weird technology of creating humans and underground labs. That's why I don't say human developers. It's sort of sends the wrong message. So we're gonna say humanists for the most part, and that's gonna work. That's gonna work out. All right. So, and yes, I do have a real job. I really do run the United States government. My job is being God. Sometimes I have to purport to be not just purport, but be humble. Running the United States government or whatever the particular elite empire is on Earth. But yeah. So you guys get real jobs. All right. I'm freeing these women who have been entered into the procreation program, and you little boys, grown men, 40, 50-year-olds who haven't worked in 20, 30 years, are chasing little girls, high school girls, and college girls and women around. Apparently, there are girls at college. But anyway, go on with your lives. You guys are under arrest, along with Letitia James. You guys are under arrest. I got you. Okay, guys. I'm creating jobs for African Americans and other minorities, and considering what's going to happen over the next 5 years and forth, so some of the wives or the ex-wives of these men who are having to experience losing their wives and they to a Central Intelligence Agency program, my program. I'm being quite merciful, in all honesty. You know, in all honesty, these men are supposed to go to jail for 10, 20 years. I'm pretty sure based on the laws and policy of the United States government. And as you can see, I'm still in Orlando. They're not going to be able to rule the United States from the bottom, having jobs like these. Jobs I'm going to create with Homeland Security to be able to audit all sectors of the United States government and society. They're not going to be able to rule it and claim to be chief manager of this and this and that. This is not what's going on. We're going to have to deal with our reality right now. Okay? So I want you guys to know that. And so as you can see, I'm still in going to the McDonald's here on Colonial, and I think it's Silver Star or Silver something. I keep forgetting the specific street. I think it's called Silver Star, not Silver Star. It's Silver Road or something like that. Maybe Colonial and Silver Road in Orlando, Florida. That's the particular neighborhood. My last field audit is going to be done. I haven't had to focus too much on field audit over the past few weeks or so, a couple of months or so. Actually, over the past 3, 4, 5 months. But this is my last field location. I'm going to get my corporate identity, as I've explained. As you can see, Pine Hills. It's actually the close. This is Pine Hills. Okay, so yeah, so this is the Colonial Pine Hills neighborhood in a community in Orlando, Florida. I'm not speaking of the wealthy community within our side, Orlando, where all of the I guess the corporate and I guess the wealthy folks live in Orlando. It's actually being taken up by white folks. Again, they're taking it away from all of the African American athletes. They're tired of the house parties. They're tired of the high school girls showing up at the houses and so forth. They've all been condemned. All right, for the most part, and the company is taken up by NSA and so forth, and they're gonna give it back to white folks. And usually, I would argue against that, but what I've encountered, I just have to say okay. And we're gonna have to re-educate African Americans, the totality of African Americans and other minorities. And when I say African Americans, I'm also speaking of immigrant Black Americans. Yeah, I'm always honest about that. There's no bias when I speak or when I communicate with you guys. Okay, so you guys are not gonna. You guys, they said we are never gonna believe that what happens happens. We're just gonna believe that it's just on his TV or on our TV and this and that. No, you guys are not gonna be able to argue that. Those who refuse to believe what happens in a few weeks actually happens uh, will be sent back to New York with government privilege to be able to enter the city, and they're going to see that all of Lower Manhattan is gone, and all of New York City, for the most part, is completely gone due to radioactive or radiation effect. Okay, for at least 5 months, and it's actually going to be for an extension of 5 years in totality, as I have explained in our previous work reports. Okay, actually, uh, one specific work report I detailed it a bit explicitly, a bit in depth. But so I do want you guys to understand what I meant by that. Okay, so within 27, 28 days, I'm pretty sure, or immediately thereafter, or it's going to be imminent at that point in 27 to 28 days. If it does not happen at that particular point, or right before it, or even earlier, uh, Lower Manhattan is going to be nuked. And it's going to happen by higher forces, higher than the federal government of the United States. We're going to follow my orders and instructions in being able to save the United States of America and the UN uh, against their order of condemnation by the means that I've explained. No one is going to die officially and in secret. Well, no one is going to die officially within government records, top secret government records. No one is going to die. And in reality, no one is going to die whatsoever regarding those particular events. Lower Manhattan and the demolition of the White House a day or two afterward, and Central Moscow and this and that. On the news broadcast, it's going to purport that millions of people died, 100,000 folks died and stuff and this and that. So that's how things work. All right, we've been staging wars for about 2,000 years, ever since I was Julius Caesar. I mean, staging wars in its totality for about 2,000 years now. Before then, we staged parts of wars and this and that. But 2,000 years ago, all wars, for the most part, within imperial realms and its extent or its expanse, were staged. All of the wars against Great Britain and France and this and that, those were staged. Even though they did have the backing, the force, and the technical powers to be able to serve as empires, they did stage their wars. The competition or the war itself went on behind closed doors, and it was a bit more intellectual and a bit more debate oriented. All right, I'm not making anything up. I want you guys to understand that. That's the reality. Okay, guys. So I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm gonna do the right thing no matter what, and I'm gonna make sure that no one dies, and it's not gonna be some sort of physical superhuman effort. It's based on running the Central Intelligence Agency as lead over the United States government, uh, and in effect and officially running the United States government under covert cover or in-depth and unbreachable cover for the time being, and and also running the United Nations and Interpol as being the United States government's top partnerships or primary partnerships. When I say I'm the chief manager of the United States government and its partnerships, I'm implying that I run the whole world. And that's actually always true, but I'm doing so humbly. I'm not being offensive. I've been a field auditor and agent for the past 12 years without bothering anyone, and having to endure the reports of migrants and immigrants and refugees and so many different folks, minorities all over the country, enduring bias, abuse, and even some death or apparent death or purported death. Okay, so when I decided to make everything formal, to issue my policies and my endorsement of judgments, UN security judgments, and this and that. And I decided to do so. It was no longer a personal matter. When I decided to do so, it was no longer a personal matter whatsoever. Okay, it's a demographic matter. It's a United States matter. Meaning it's an American matter, and it's a global matter. Okay, it's a global matter. So yeah, actually, I'm gonna have a meal here at McDonald's. It's not gonna be a serious meal at all. I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna finish my work paper. This work paper is actually gonna be on. It's gonna be an RC International. I'm gonna explain to you guys the primary purposes of RC International Research Policy Institute. Once again, I'm gonna explain the Agenda 2063 Africa Union Agenda 2063 plan of the African Union, and I'm gonna detail certain terms or phrases that I've had to use in the past to explain to you guys exactly what I mean by what I communicate. I don't speak in codes. I don't speak in subconscious. I don't speak in innuendos. I don't imply too much. I don't, and whenever I do infer or imply, I never imply or infer anything negative, detrimental to me, or unethical. I want you guys to understand that. And my procreation program has not been bought. Okay, so all of the folks who created fake records of employment within government databases or documentations, they have been identified. Okay, so Corinne Japierre, she started dating a Haitian American or a Haitian priest at the St. James Cathedral here in Orlando, Florida, and he's going to run away with his wife, not Corinne Japierre, and she's going to say that's enough. I'm going to stay in within Shawn Dexter John's procreation program. I thought he was saying that I should move on with this Haitian guy. I'm not too sure. He's not even a real priest, and he does not even really work at all. He just shows up in a priest robe at times, and I'm just finding out that I'm going to have to purport being. That's what she's saying to you guys. She's going to have to purport being a nun after I do fake a death within a few weeks, so she can get her U.S. citizenship And it's going to be endorsed and it's going to be authorized and certified by me. She's literally a refugee from Haiti. Okay, she's really a refugee from Haiti, and she's considered illegal or undocumented to the White House and the rest of the federal government in reality. So I'm going to rescue her. The church is not going to be able to help her. Only Jesus Christ can help her at this particular point. She's one of my chief angels, my chief wives in heaven. She's one of my original daughters. I love her to death. She does not know that. I know her soul completely. I haven't ever met her in person in this particular lifetime, but one of my assignments was rescue Corinne as soon as possible. She was named Corinne, just to match my Corinthian one at gmail.com. Email address is not a coincidence. Corinne is actually a real name. She started lying and she said that she created that name just so that she could combat me and claim the email address as hers. She was just lying, very scared of being deported out of the United States of America. That's not going to be contested by anyone. There's no force that's going to be able to combat me or contest me. I'm telling you guys, I'm not delusional at all. Folks are going to have to humble themselves. This is a message from above. You guys are going to have to humble yourselves right now. Okay? Time to humble yourself.